What's up guys, it's Tiny Strokes here again, and this week we're going to be doing something a bit different. Bit of war cry. So I think I referenced it in my last video briefly that I really like these warband things, or anything that's sort of a smaller game but with high detail, which these models in this kit certainly seem to have, and a lot of the stuff they've been bringing out has been fantastic. I love it. But a lot of the models suffer, I say suffer, from Games Workshop's number one problem, which is male dehydration. So all these guys are absolutely ripped to anything. They look like bodybuilder pluses, just all of them, casually. So as a result, I thought I'd show you how to do, not necessarily a quick way, but a really nice way of doing flesh. And this can work with any color as well. So I'm going to be painting, or showing you how I painted this dude, little Untamed Beast leader. There we go. How I did his flesh in a really effective way, which will make him look far above tabletop standard without having to put in as much work as you may think. So yeah, let's get to it. So here we have him in all his unpainted naked glory. I put a bit of sort of larger gravel on the base because he already had this piece he's standing on, so sort of a less is more approach here, and I wanted something quite simple so I didn't have to paint the base separately to the model. So I undercoated the model starting with Army Painter Uniform Grey for the base, followed up by a nice Zenith undercoat of Corax White from the Games Workshop range. Now as it goes, I love Corax White, that works very well. This Army Painter stuff's maybe not the best, but all I had to hand at the moment. I'd always suggest for spray primers, probably going for the Games Workshop ones. And boom, here he is in all his undercoated glory. Nothing really too fancy, just shows you sort of how the white helps pick up those higher details. I went probably a bit heavier with this than I wanted to, because I would have probably liked to start from white with this model, to be honest. Although, as you saw from the Goblin, I can also start from black when doing skin. So it's really simple. You only need around 3 or 4 colours for this, which are now on screen. You know, Bugman's Glow, Cadian Flesh Tone, Kislev Flesh, and I threw in Flayed One Flesh because it can help if you want to do a highlight, because the yellowy tones are really good for flesh. And you can see I'm loaded on the wet palette here, which I've made out of very simple stuff. There's really no need to buy one. Instead of just going up one colour at a time, I'm going to mix the Bugmans with the next colour, and then I'll do the next colour on its own, and so on and so forth, going all the way up the range. The first step, we're just getting pure Bugmans on, and make sure obviously to sort of thin your paint down a bit, not tons, because you don't want it ultra runny for this. And just be careful not to catch the other detail, but it doesn't matter, you can always clean it up a little bit later on anyway. And although you do want it in all the cracks and crevices this time, don't actually just slap it on really thick, because that's not going to help you at all. So as you can see here, it's quite watery, very thin in its consistency. You might need 2 coats with this, but wait for it to dry before going back, don't just keep trying to slap it on top. So I actually missed the face with the first layer, but it doesn't really matter. I'm just going in now and filling it in. And luckily, it's not a face painting tutorial, is it? So it's not really relevant and not what we're here for, but I'm filling it anyway. Now the key thing that we're going to be doing on this step, once I'm done mucking about with the face, is we've now mixed Bugmans with Cadian Flesh Tone, so there's not just such a massive colour jump. And what we're going to be doing is leaving a little bit of the Bugmans showing, like right in the cracks of all the muscles, because he's so ripped, because he hasn't had a drink of water probably in about 7 years, whilst pumping iron all that time. What this does is start sort of building layers and depth. Now the first layer you won't really see too much, but as we start building up more and more layers, it's going to become pretty present. As you can see here, I'm focusing on the higher points of the muscle. Other things you can do is think, where's the light coming from, and paint it that way. So if it was at night, you could actually paint it the other way round. What I mean is, if you say stood in front of a fire, you would try and perhaps highlight all the bottoms of the muscle, but then that gets into all kinds of crazy stuff like object source lightning, which once again, this isn't the video for that. Your warbands, especially Untamed Beasts and similar things with flesh, looking kick-ass without having to spend 78 hours on each model. As I said, you don't need to leave much of the bugmans, but leave a little bit showing, especially in the deep cracks. Now we're just going straight to KD and flesh toners. We've done the mix with the two colours before, so this won't be as much of a sharp colour jump. It's going to look almost, I won't say like a blend, but it's going to look like a bit more of a natural transition between the layers that we're building up here, with a focus towards the top. As you can see on this one muscle here, I'm making sure to still leave a bit of the previous layer showing. At first it might not look, you might think, oh, this doesn't look right, but go through the whole model before covering up more of your previous layer first, because that will really give you an idea of what the finished product's going to look like. But yeah, there's not much to say here really. Sort of like a autobiography of my life. Get it done, but take your time with it. It's meant to be fun. It's meant to be relaxing. You should be able to see now that it's really coming into its own, and the important thing is as well, we have not used a single wash on this model. And although I love using washes, especially the Citadel washes are fantastic, it's a challenge I've been setting to myself as well of late, is to paint without using them. Not because they're bad and not because they're lazy, not at all, but I find that painting without them means you've got to focus more and you've got to really improve on your skills. So right here, I think I've actually just gone straight up to, I think it's Kislev flesh, or it might even be flayed one flesh. Basically, I was running out of time before I had to go to work, but I still wanted to get this video finished. And right here, I'm just being very careful to just sort of almost stipple, stipple it on. Stipple the colour on. And for those of you that don't know what this is, I'm not really painting, I'm more just sort of dotting, being very careful. And this is acting as the final highlight, so I still want to preserve all those layers and colours I've built up. And you should hopefully be able to see the effect it's having now on his big, muscly, manly body. Obviously, if you do get a bit excited about this video, pause it and go to whatever links you need to, and this isn't really the place for it. As if the light source was from the top, hence the zenith highlight, but I wasn't focusing purely on it. It wasn't a be-all and end-all. This is something I'm still working on, I'm still practicing, and it's not going to be done overnight. So you're going to have to paint a lot of models to eventually get what you want. And I think that's what's really important with the painting side of the hobby. You don't need to be the best. Look at me. I am definitely not the best painter. I am far from it. But as long as I keep improving and keep enjoying it, that's what matters to me. This final step is what I'd really recommend taking your time, really taking your time, because you don't want to cover up all the hard work you've done previously. Now, I mean, on this model, this is still a really effective way of doing it, and there's only around say 4 layers. So yeah, this one's 4 layers of paints just on the skin, no washes at all. And by the end, I was very happy with the result, and I've had quite a few people be like, oh, how did you do that? Now, this isn't even as crazy as you can go. Like, by using 4 colours, I mean, you're talking 8+ layers. The choice for Bugman's as well as a starting colour, just to explain it now, I've got a bit more time at the end of the video between the shorter clips, is it gives off more of a reddish tone. So if you look at skin, it's not pure white. Like, if you look on the bottom of your hand, you'll see there's areas which are a bit more red. Although this can be achieved with using a sepia wash, or perhaps even a red wash of some sort. It's part of what I'm trying to teach myself, is to paint without washes. This is about where I'm going to call him done, and I think it's a really nice effect, and I hope you can all apply these to your miniatures as well. If you enjoyed this video at all and learnt something, then I'm perhaps thinking of doing an entire sort of Warcry mini-series as such, where I paint up things through the box, although I can't touch some of the models. But the scenery, for example, process of painting that up, if that is something some of you would like to see, let me know in the comments. Otherwise I just won't bother, because at the end of the day, I can still do a lot of hobbying off camera at the moment. So use the comment section to really sort of direct what you want to see from this channel. But thanks again for watching, and if you did like the video, consider liking and subscribing. It's not necessary though.